question that we frequently receive from clients and potential clients is how to properly document a crash scene. Well, let's start with why documenting a crash scene is important in the first place. And it's important to document a crash scene because if and when a claim is made at a later time, that's a part of the package that's put together and sent off to the insurance company to tell the story of and help them understand what happened, why. So one of the most important things after a crash is to try to assess if anybody's hurt. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? People in your car, are there injuries? Whether they can verbalize it or if you can see it. People in other vehicles, were there pedestrians involved? So it's important to get one's arms around that. And when necessary, of course, call for emergency medical assistance. What does it mean to document the scene of the crash? Well, first thing, nowadays everybody has a cell phone, so taking pictures is very important. Also videos. Let's talk about photographs first. Some of the key photographs that are important to take after a crash would include the vehicles, the license plates of the vehicles, because that identifies the cars or the trucks involved, property damage, and then also the area around the crash so that we can see where it happened and get a better sense of where vehicles were coming from and whether a traffic control device is involved, like a red light or a stop sign or a yield sign. Those are all very important factors in documenting a crash. Also, it's important to take a photograph of the driver's license of the drivers involved in the crash, as well as the insurance card. Now, under Texas law, people are required to provide proof of insurance, and it's a good idea to keep it in one's vehicle, and most people do that, so that after a crash, that insurance information can be exchanged. Of course, nowadays, instead of writing all that down, it's just so much easier to take a photograph. In addition to photographs, consider taking a video of the crash scene. And that can involve walking around the vehicles that are involved, taking a step back to show, say, a traffic control device, say a red light, green light, yellow light, stop signs, yield signs, anything that can help to tell the story later on of the crash, how it happened and why it happened. So another very important thing to do after a crash is to call the police. The truth is, it can take some time. We all wish they could come out maybe 5-10 minutes, but typically it takes quite a bit longer than that, maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes upwards to an hour, and sometimes even more. But it's important to wait for the police because they will come to the scene, they'll talk to the people involved in the crash, and they'll look at the scene and piece together what happened, how it happened, and why it happened. And then afterwards, the police officer will create a report that will list all the important information, including the names, addresses, and contact information for the drivers involved, including driver's license numbers. The officer will document the vehicles involved. They will assess a damage rating, and oftentimes they will also create a diagram to show how the crash happened. They will document their investigation and their findings in a report. It's called a crash report, and it becomes publicly available typically within 5 to 7 business days after a crash happens. And that's something that your lawyer will know how to get, and that is an essential piece of evidence in the case. So one thing that we strongly suggest to our clients is they not post on social media after a crash and during the time that they're treating for injuries. The thing is, sometimes those social media posts, they can be taken out of context, and that can end up hurting or adversely affecting a person's claim later on. If you want to learn more about what to do after a motor vehicle crash, feel free to call us at the Callahan Law Firm. Our phone number is 713-224-9000, or you can submit an online inquiry. The website is www.thecallahanlawfirm.com. We'll do everything we can to answer all your questions and to help.